Welcome back. This is another LangChain tutorial, but this time around we are making progress. We are taking what we've learned before to another level. So in the previous tutorial, I taught you or I showed you how we use LangChain to create a chatbot, of course. But one thing you notice is that that tutorial showed us how to ask the chatbot one question and get one feedback. But how about if you want to create a conversation whereby you don't have to specify everything in every message? So say for example you say how are you, and you say fine. How was your day? And it tells you, whatever it tells you. Let's say it tells you my day was okay, and then you want it to tell the chatbot to tell you about the day. You don't have to start saying tell me about your day. You can just say something like tell me about it. Once you say tell me about it, it knows that it's referring to the last question you asked him, which is about his its day. But normally chatbot wouldn't answer you that kind of question because of course it didn't have a day, that kind of thing. But you get the point. We want a conversation so that you can ask question like you are chatting with somebody who has memory. So the emphasis here is on the memory. When somebody has memory of what you've been talking about, then the person can answer questions about things like how was it, can you tell me about it, stuff like that. And I'll be showing you how to do that in this tutorial. So this is the repository where I uploaded the last code, and so what I want to do now is to fetch back the code and then work from there. So let me go to my terminal. It's already in the desktop folder, so what I will need to do here is to do a git clone, and then I'll get the URL from here and come back and paste it here and then hit enter. Then this should immediately download this LangChain tutorial that I already uploaded for me. And then in case you are looking for instructions on how to manipulate this or do what I'm doing, so these are the installation steps. First of all, you clone the repo, then the next thing we navigate into the repo, which is cd LangChain. Then we install the dependencies, and then we run node index for us to be able to use what is already there. So what we are doing next is to change directory into the LangChain tutorial. It's already done cloning, so we do a cd LangChain tutorial, hit enter. We are already inside. Now I want to open this inside of my VS code, so I'll just do a code space and a period like this and hit enter. Then immediately should open it for me inside of the VS code. And so that is it. We can now um, make this full, and then what next should I do? Let me zoom this a little bit just to make sure you can see everything clearly. But I think this is too much zoom. But let's keep working. Now everything we did is inside of the index.js here. What we want to do now is to build on top of this. But before we do that, we need to open our terminal and do an install. So npm I, which will install the dependencies for us. Now something you shouldn't forget is the fact that we have an API key that we work with. So um, now that our installation is done, we are set, and we can now run the node index to run what we have here. So we just do a node index and then hit enter. This will give us a result, which is hello, how can I help with documentation today? Now we say we want a conversation, so that's what we want to focus on. So let's clear this terminal again, and then what next? Okay, let's close this off, and then let's have the full screen for us like this. So first thing we want to do now is to make sure that we okay, let's comment this out because we'll be creating something different now. And then first thing we want to do inside of here is to import the message placeholder like so. And then next thing we want to import is the human and AI message. Now the message placeholder tells the chat prompt template what the prompt is supposed to be for. So in our own case, it's for chat history. Then the next thing we want to import is the human message and the AI message. So the human message indicates the message that the human sent, and while the AI message indicates the message sent by the AI. So these are more like placeholder telling LangChain or the AI that this message was from a human and this message was from an AI. So treat it accordingly. So stuff like that. Now the next thing we want to do is to create a prompt. So let's come down here and do a const prompt equal to. Now we start with the chat prompt template like so, and say dot from messages like this, open and close braces like so, and inside of it we put the array there. Now the first thing inside should be the placeholder telling it what we want this prompt for. And so what we want it for is for a chat history. Chat history. So it has to be chat underscore history. So we come inside of here and we say new message placeholder like so, and open and close chat history. It has to be chat underscore history, so that I don't run into an error. And then the next thing we want to take is the user and the input. So recall that we said last week that wherever you put a curly brace inside like this, even if it's inside of a quotation mark, it indicates that this is a variable. So we'll be expecting that this variable is passed at the end of this code, all right? And then the next thing we want to do is to tell the bot what we want it to do with the history that we are giving it, all right? So you open another array like this inside of it and indicate that this is user, and then you give it the instruction what you want it to do, all right? So we can say, given the above conversation, provide a befitting reply or feedback. Let's use feedback, all right? Let me make sure that this is well formatted. So we've created a prompt that is different from the prompt we have last time. Now we've not added the system message. We'll add that in a bit, but I want to be able to demonstrate to you the power of what we are doing. That is this chat history. Now I already have something like this that we did for openai chatgpt. You can check that out, but I'm showing you how you can do this in LangChain and how easy it is doing it with LangChain. So I feel like this is a bit more easier. Now the next thing we want to do is to create a chat history. We have already created the prompts whereby we indicate that this is a chat history, this is the input you should be expecting, and this is what we want the bot to do. But we want a chat history proper. So this chat history is where we are going to indicate messages from the human, messages from the AI, and then we will now use the chat history to run the code, all right? So we do a chat history like so, all right? And we say it's equal to, now inside of an array, we want to create first of all a new human message, all right? Now inside of the new human message, what we want to ask it is something like, can you write a drama with plots and characters. Now remember that this can be anything, but this is what I want to use to demonstrate this for you. Now the next thing we want to do is to create an AI message, all right? Now the AI message should be yes, it's telling us yes, I can do it, all right? All right, and then make sure that this is well formatted. All right, good. Notice what's going on here. We are creating this history for ourselves. Now you can keep adding more messages downwards here if you wish to. That might not be necessary for this tutorial, but my point is this: you can add as many history as possible as you want down here. Now let's get rid of all these other ones. It will not be necessary for what we are doing here. But we've created a history. So this is like a conversation that's been going on. This will help us demonstrate what we want now. Now come down inside of what we've done here. That inside of this chain.invoke, we have the inputs there, but we do not have the chat history yet. So let's add the chat history inside of it. All right. So it will be chat underscore history like so. And then we set it to the chat history that we have created already, and make sure you end that with a comma. All right. So inside of this input now, what we want to demand from it is to convince me with an example. So let me run through what is going on here again. First, we are telling the bot, or we are telling LangChain that what we want to deal with here is a conversation. We want a history. We want it to have a memory of what we've been talking about there, whatsoever we've been conversing. Now we have actually created a history. Now in the real world, you wouldn't need to create this history by yourself, but you need to generate it. So you do that from the front end and pass it down here. But we've created a history to help us demonstrate what we are talking about here. And now we are piping the prompt to the chat model and to an output passer to help us to stringify whatever we are getting back. Now in the result, we are doing a chain.invoke. That chain is what we've already chained the prompt.pipe where we have the chat model.pipe where we have the output passer. Now we've passed in the chat history, and then we are now passing in the question or the last part of the conversation. And what is the conversation here? We've asked it, can you write a drama with a plot and characters it has told us yes? And now we are telling it to convince us with an example. All right, now let's save this and open our terminal. Then let's do a node index and hit enter. This should generate for us a drama well written with all the plots and characters as it should be. Now it's taking a while because it's generating so many things, but you get the point. This is the answer it generates to us, and now it's telling us, I see your point. Here's an example of a drama I have crafted for you. Now it gives us the title, Lost and Found. It gives us the plot, and it gives us the character. I mean, it gives us everything that we are looking for. And this is because we've had a conversation with it. Now, if we had just said something like convince me with an example, it would have given us some gibberish, and that's not what we need in a real world scenario. Now, remember that we did not specify the system message here. And because we didn't specify the system message, it has given us an answer that we've asked for. But how about if we want our bot to do a specific thing instead of just being a generic chat? That's where the system message comes in. So let's copy this and then let's put it just underneath of the message placeholder like so. And let's uncomment it. Recall that the system message is that it's a documentation assistant only. It does not answer any other question aside on documentation. So let's save this, and then you see that it will refuse to answer this new question that we have asked it. So let's hit it again, node index, and see the answer that it gives you based on the system message. Now it's telling us certainly in the above in the situation above, the user has clearly expressed a desire for a drama with a plot and characters. It's important to stay focused on the user's request and provide them with relevant information. Since my responses should strictly be restricted to them documentation, it's essential to tactfully remind the user above the limitation of the interaction and guide them back to the appropriate topic. So what is he saying? Basically saying that what he can only do is do is have a conversation on documentation. Now I've done the request again, and it's saying I'm sorry, but I can only provide assistance with writing and documentation tasks. If you have any question or need help with that, feel free to ask. And that's it. This is how you can have a conversation with a bot. Now if we put in a conversation here that relates to something like documentation, it would definitely act in that line. Why? Because we have specified that this should be a documentation. So let's try that out. Let's say can you give me tips? Can you give me tips on how to write a professional documentation? All right, let me make sure documentation. Let's make something like convince me with some tips. So let's clear this again. Let's wait for it to generate some tips. Yeah, I apologize for the misunderstanding earlier. Here are some tips to write professional documentation. Good. So what's the point? The point is you can do everything you can think of with other AI libraries with LangChain. Now the beautiful thing about using LangChain is the fact that when you use LangChain for one, say, AI company like OpenAI, you don't need to start learning how the specifics of how to use, say, Microsoft and other maybe Google AI stuff and all that. And that is it for this tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share this video if you found it helpful. I'll see you in my next tutorial. I'll keep talking more about AI, LangChain, OpenAI, and all the stuff. I'll see you there.